You all, we are not licensed professionals. We are just here on this roller coaster called life, trying to be better friends to one another, trying to be better human beings on this planet. If you're tuning in, we are not opting out of therapy. We are not advocating that you listen to us and not see someone who is licensed and trained to help you with day-to-day life on how to cope and deal. So we advocate for therapy a lot here. We believe that everyone has something to talk to somebody about. So, just like to make that disclaimer that we're just here giving our opinions and having discussions week by week. And we're hoping that, maybe you can find something useful, or if at least find a little humor in this terrible, terrible rock we call the world.
In other words, if you listen to our advice and you get popped in the mouth, don't at us.
Yeah, don't at me because you may get popped in the mouth again. Welcome back to another episode of the Friendship University podcast. The podcast where we get up here and try to encourage you to be better people to one another every day, because every day that we heal ourselves, we can heal another person. I myself am trying to just be a little less trash every day, just every single day, because you wake up and sometimes you like, I don't know what I'm going to do today, but try to be good to people. People are our greatest resource. That's what we believe around here. So I am with my lovely co-host Tarrah, and we are here for another episode, another Friendship Friday. We haven't done that in a while. We're gonna have to start like doing. We may have to do a sound bite like DJs do, where they just insert it. We're gonna have to just do that, and then they can just insert it wherever they need to insert it, like DJ Mustard, DJ on the track. Like, we just need to have that and we can insert it. But y'all, welcome back to another week. How you doing, Tarrah?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. You know what they used to say? I'm alive.
I'm
I'm
alive.
alive. I used a lot of brain power today, and it wasn't in my corporate role today. I had to use a lot of brain power. We were doing some strategic planning and different things for the next couple of years. And I don't know how the ball kept coming back in my corner to like respond and give things out. I don't know if I was just feeding out things that they wanted to hear, but I felt like I was talking and talking and talking and talking some more. I was just like, okay, well, next.
That's
Who
what
else would
happens
like
when
to
you're
say anything?
very talented and
I
you're wise and knowledgeable.
Listen, y'all. I'm just an advocate for learning right now, and a lot of my background is in learning and development, talent development, specifically adult learning. So the company that I'm working for right now, I really love the atmosphere. I love the people. They're really open to ideas. They're really just like, we're very communicative. It's very collaborative, but not in that scary college way where you're like, oh my God, a group project. I can't believe I got to do a group project. People are going to hold their weight. They're going to do what they need to do. But it's also a company that has to do the strategic plan, because if you're going to garner more millions than you garnered the year before, we got to plan how to do that, right? And as an entrepreneur, I know you know a little bit about like planning out your year, figuring out things. How do I be better? How am I better, or my company's better than the year before? How do we improve? Where does everything come from? So it was a lot of that discussion today, which I have not done in a very long time with other individuals. So it tired your girl out. I ain't gonna hold you. Yeah, but I'm here. How you doing? How is it running a company and having to have these conversations?
Uh, I feel like it's okay. Um, when it's just you and you work with like independent contractors, it's not as much of that as it would be if you had like a team all the time. So for me, it's just like the conversation's much different. It's like
Mm-hmm.
quick pivot as opposed. It's like I don't have to turn the whole ship. Like when you turn the whole ship,
Mm.
a lot of work because it's such a big vessel. But you got a small little situation, you can kind of whip it around and move it. So for me, it's not as intense. The intensity comes with like maybe just like a day to day basis working with people, because you deal with people's whatever they bring, right? Um, but
I like the way you put that because it could literally be whatever they bring that
yeah,
day.
whatever they're bringing, it could be great or it could be, other things. So that part, being patient with the process because everything requires some kind of process. Technology, I work a lot with technology that has its days where it's just like, this is amazing. This is making the world a better place and giving people so much opportunity. And then the days where it's like, this is not amazing. It's making my life much harder right now. And I keep going back and forth with this platform, blah, blah, blah. But I just do my best to remain grateful, right? Um, I, it's off in the summer, and I'm gonna be going back to school in the fall, and so kind of working on that and stuff like that. One thing I do miss about my students is they are entertaining. Let's just be honest. Like,
You
yes, you work a
used to
lot,
have some stories. You used to have some stories about your students,
bruh.
which really,
Entertainment tonight,
if you've never
and
worked with youth, they're very funny.
hilarious. And I wouldn't make it no better because I would just let them. I would just let them be because it
Let
was
them
funny to me.
riff.
Yeah, I would just let them be as long as they weren't like disrespectful, like full
Hmm.
blown disrespect. I would just kind of let them do their thing because it was funny to me. But yeah, that's the good thing. So the good thing about working in that field is like the sheer funny interactions like kind of lift your day up, even though you gotta do like a lot of other things, but that is fun. So doing that, music stuff kind of on the side. We have an event this week, like a worship night, so that's fun, and just preparing to do more stuff like that. So sing at church, all kind of stuff like that. So
Excellent. I
yeah,
A woman I work with at my current job, she used to teach high schoolers too. And she was like,
really.
yeah, they're very funny. And then she was like, we were talking because we came back. So we did what was called like a on site where we all came together and did our company goals and just different things like that. We met in person and we came back from the on site and one person was like, "How do we get the energy back up?" We came back from lunch, and I told how I like to normally do it or whatever, and she was like, "It's always the opposite for me because when I worked in the school system and I was working with high schoolers, they were so drowsy and down in the morning, and they're just like slagging and they're just like yawning, but then they come back from lunch and they've got this
And they
boost of
on 10.
energy." And they are just jumping off the wall and they're just doing all these things. And you're like trying to do
Yes,
the
honey. Coming
reverse.
from lunch, I don't know. Being with their friends, child. Lunch had them like, yeah, I mean, crazy. I don't know what was that about.
And
I have
maybe
no
it was
idea.
like the food. You know, sometimes at lunch you drink the sodas when you're young, so it could be
Oh
that sugar
yeah.
rush.
No, that makes total sense because they eating
Yeah,
candy because they eat candy and sweets. Like they eat a lot of candy, a lot of sweets, and they do drink like soda and stuff like that. So that
that's
makes a
what I
lot
was
more sense.
thinking. I'm like,
I'm
they come
like,
back
what
from
is wrong
lunch
with
and
y'all?
they're wired. Because I remember I used to, at a certain point in my high school career, I would try to like fashion certain things for after lunch because I knew I would have more energy. Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I may date myself, but I'm drinking the Fruitopia and I'm drinking the.
Fruitopia, Fruitopia. That was like straight
Hey, 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 hey,
chemical.
hey.
That tastes like no
Uh,
fruit at all.
Spoiler alert, not a
Straight,
single fruit.
not a
Not a
single
single
fruit.
fruit in the
Straight,
Fruitopia.
straight high
Straight
fructose.
high
Fruit
fruit,
stand for high
high
fructose.
fructose corn syrup absolutely stands for high
Period.
fructose corn syrup. But yeah,
Okay.
they're still trying to. I have a story. I'm gonna post it. Let's just say your girl is following the story of an avocado, and I'm gonna post it because I need you all to see how they don't really care about us. They don't. They really don't. So we're good. We just celebrated Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. This will be a week after when you all see this, but happy belated Father's Day to all the men out there who are really also shaping the next generation, right? They say it takes a village, it also takes a household. We appreciate you. And we celebrate you. There was all this like discord I saw online about how Mother's Day gets these like big tropes and all
True.
this all of these like long paragraphs about how a mom is this or that, and then dad gets, you're really great at barbecuing, we love you so much, thank you, like XOXO. But I think that kind of deals, I think a little bit of that kind of deals with the way that a dad interacts with their children, right? Because some
Yeah.
people were able to express themselves because of the way they felt it would be received or whatever. So, um, yeah, we're gonna get a little bit more in depth about parental and children relationships a little bit later. But I really wanted to talk to you as an artist. This is going to be our, I guess, our artist corner, this segment for this episode. I recently saw an interview from Tim's, who was expressing how she really put a lot of effort into just trying to not appear so sexually attractive to the men she was working with in the studio and on her albums and different things like that. So she was like intentional. She was very intentional about what she wore, about the way that she showed up going into the studio because I want to say she said something along the lines of, if my attractiveness is going to hinder you, I'm willing to like dim that down because I'm here to work and I want to learn and I want to do. And as an attractive woman
Oh, you're so
who
sweet.
is
Cute.
in the industry, I know you work with several people, and what are your thoughts on that? Like, I just want to really know, like, have you had experience with really having to be mindful of those kind of things? Was it something that was told to you beforehand? Did you kind of figure it out afterwards, or what?
Um, I would say number one, I think to answer your first question, I think that was very wise of her. You can't control other people. These men are grown. It's like nothing. You can't stop them from being who they are, but you can control yourself.
Yeah.
And she adjusted herself and be based on what she wanted to achieve. She was more on the secular side, so it's a lot that studio culture is like almost party culture, and depending on the artist. So for her to set it up in a way to um, present herself in a way that's like, I'm only about my business, I thought that was very wise of her to do, because for some studio sessions, it is like a party, like the women, or you know, drugs and alcohol, like can be the atmosphere. So for her to go into it with the mind that I really want to work, I really want to make music. This is not a party for me. I'm not gonna dress like it's a party for me. I'm gonna dress like I'm studying, which is what she was about. She was in a study mode, and she dressed like she was studying, and she carried herself accordingly. Like, I don't know anyone that goes to the library in party clothes. No, you go to the library in comfortable clothes so that you can get your work done. You know you're gonna be there for hours and hours with these people, and
We used to literally sleep in the library with our
literally in
sweats.
college
And
we took sweats and blankets and snacks. And
yo,
honestly, that's how it is in a studio. Like, if you're gonna be there for hours and hours, you're gonna dress comfortable. You're gonna be in like sweats, and a lot of times it can be cold in there. So like you're gonna be just comfortable, sweats, like snacks, like blanket, like that is normal. For but if you are dressing in a way that's just a little more provocative, and you're around a bunch of guys, that's just not smart. Like, I'm sorry, call me whatever you want to call me, but it's just not a smart thing to do. Um, Guys are gonna be guys. I don't care if they're good guys. Sometimes the good guys, they get around other guys, and they just, all the good guys go out the window. So
mm,
I think that was smart of her to do. Tone it down, just kind of be incognito, just get your work done and get out of there, because you know,
that
being around a
who
bunch
would
of
have known?
guys,
I mean, even you
different.
saying like a studio is like I have done some work, but I'm nowhere near being an artist and going and recording and doing and being in studios with producers and doing tracks and all that over and over and over again. So even you saying like a studio could be cold, I never even thought about that.
And
You
some
know,
studios, are in people's houses. Like, I've
that's
been to several
true.
studios where you in somebody's house. So if
Hmm.
you dressing all, and you in they bedroom down the hall, like, you just, that's just not smart. You just want to be, you want to just make it easier for people, and not that, well, that's not that, she shouldn't have to do that. This is America, okay? Like, this is the world we
This is
live
the
in.
world.
This
It's
is the
not even
world
just
we
about
live
it being
in. This is
America. It's just about human beings being human
like,
beings.
people gonna people, and you just have to act accordingly. There's nothing you can do
There,
about it.
I
Like, shoot,
remember
shoot.
I don't know if you remember this. When we were growing up, there was a phrase called dress for success. And it was more geared towards encouraging people. Um, if we have any Gen Z listeners or people who have only had to apply for jobs online, then you may not really understand what I'm about to say. So I'm gonna just give a little small segment about it. But back in the day, we actually used to have to go in and hand in paper resumes to people and actually like present ourselves as who we were instead of having a LinkedIn profile or being able to go to their web page and just apply online. So there was a thing called Dress for Success where they tried to encourage us to look professional when we were going into these stores in person and handing in our physical printed out copies of our resumes. And and I really thought about that. And when I think about wherever I'm going, I still take that mantra with me. If I'm going hiking, I'm not going to wear stilettos. Like I'm dressing for the success of that. If I know that I'm going to be somewhere and I'm going to be doing something over and over and over and over again, or like planes and stuff. Like, we're not saying you have to look like a bum, which I hate that term, but you don't have to look like someone who doesn't care about themselves. But there's a way that you can dress in a comfortable manner to also make sure that you're showing up in an appearance to say, I'm here for what I'm here for. If I'm here to learn, I'm here to learn. If I'm here to do XYZ, I'm here. Like, welders don't show up without their welder gear. And this is just, and again, like you said, you can call me what you want to, but I really think about those things when I go into certain places, especially places of business. If I'm going to potentially be making money for myself or someone else, I'm thinking about the way that I'm showing up, for sure. So I I think that was really, I don't know how old Tim's is, but I feel like she's young,
She's in her 20s, I'm sure.
which is
That was
which
just a
was
wise. That
shocking.
was just
Yeah,
wise for her to do, which older
yeah.
people don't do that, you know. And then are like, "Well, he did this to me," and I'm not saying at all that you can
There's no
control another
victim
person's,
blaming, right?
no, at all. But I'm saying if like use your brain before, think about what kind of atmosphere and environment you're going into and what you're doing. There are things you could do to mitigate. Now the fact of the matter is, if somebody want to be flirtatious or whatever with you, they're going to do that no matter what you have
They'll
on,
do it,
right?
yeah,
You know,
regardless.
but there's something to be said for how you dress. Just like a guy could have like a tank top on and some little clothes, and it's gonna garner more attention than it would if he was had a hoodie on and some baggy clothes. I
If
mean,
you
it just
walked into
is
the
what it is.
studio and a guy didn't have a shirt on and he had a six pack abs,
He's gonna garner attention. Same thing. Like it depending on how you dress, it's gonna garner certain attention. And if you don't want attention, then you shouldn't dress to get attention. And I'm not being hard on that. I'm being straight up because I've been in that scenario and I've been around situations where you got a lot of men around. And if you are attractive, like you know how to tone it down and you know how to play it up. And sometimes for the sake of the assignment and for the sake of what you're trying to get done, tone that junk down. And I know it sounds like, well, who are you to tell somebody to tone it down? I'm telling you from a person that's been through it and from a person that if somebody already got a look, I
ulterior
don't know,
motives, yeah.
you don't want to give them nothing to look at. Like on purpose. So I understand what she was saying. And I saw some of the comments was she shouldn't have to do that. She should be able to wear what she wants. That's not the world we live in. I'm sorry, it's just not. And you could try to change the world, or you could just simply change yourself. And I think she did the wise thing by just instead of going against the establishment, just let me do what I need to do for me so I can get through this and get this done. And you know,
Because guess what
all of that.
albums we may not have had if she had not made that choice?
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, I feel like some people make choices that are hard. You may not want to tone down because you're very proud of who you are and the way that you look, but you know, I'm coming in here to do something and I want to make the atmosphere, whatever we're doing, as cohesive to that mission as possible. So whatever I can do to bring that forward. And let's just be honest. When you put an outfit on, you have in mind the way people are going to react. That's anybody. I have looked at myself and been like, woo, girl, you about to turn some heads. And maybe that day I don't need to turn heads. Maybe I need your eyes on the prize and I don't need to do that day. So, yeah, I think that was
Mm-hmm.
very wise. And the reason I brought up the fact that I think she's younger, because you don't hear a lot of people in that age range talking like that. I
Yeah.
think that was very wise. I think it was a testament to being able to sacrifice your pride for your gift and for your purpose and what you think is bigger than you. Like, yes, I know I could show up like this and I should be able to show up like this. and nobody treat me like a piece of meat. But that's not the world I live in. So I have to put that pride aside to say I should be able to do this and say I'm going to do this because I want to put out this.
Yeah, and I think it shows that she didn't define herself by how she looked.
Absolutely
Like
not. Yeah, because she
like
could have went that route for sure.
yeah, like she's like, this doesn't make me like, yeah, I'm
Hmm.
beautiful, but this not all to me.
So
And
she didn't rely on that.
I'm not, I have a voice, I'm talented, I can write. I don't have to rely on how I look to get things done. And for some people that is how they get things done. They do rely on their looks. And so if you ask them to tone their looks down, it's like, well, what else do I have? It's
I
like
think it's a testament to the
you
confidence and what she had to offer outside of her looks.
outside of her looks, and that's what I'm saying. If you
Hmm.
ask someone to tone down their looks, and their looks is what gets them paid, your looks ain't gonna get you paid.
Please, please,
Because your looks
please,
ain't gonna get you
go get your,
paid.
please, because you're dusty.
Because you look
You
dusty,
look
your
dusty.
hair's
Your
uneven.
hair's uneven. A time.
Oh,
What a time.
okay, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
sometimes if you're attractive, you can just like you everything revolves
Pretty
around your
privilege
attractiveness.
exists. And I'm sorry, there's
Yeah.
a gnat or something in here from my. I bought a new plant and I think I brought home a gnat. I'm so sorry.
Oh, uh-oh. But
Yeah.
yeah, like if you ask somebody to tone down their looks, it's like, how dare you? Because that's how they move through life based on how they look. But if you have someone who, which is your business, but if you have someone
Yeah.
that has other things, like she has she can sing, she can write, she is talented.
Not just has
So
other things, but believes in those other
believes in those
things.
other things are just as important or more important than how she looks,
Hmm.
then she was able to tone down her looks and maintain her identity because her looks is not who she is. It's like a
Yeah.
part of who she is, but she doesn't see that as the center of who she is.
It's not even the beginning or the end.
Yeah. Like some people, it's like their sexiness is like their thing. So that's why when they get older and older, it's like, shouldn't they be toning it down by now? And they're not toning it down because that is their thing. Like that's what they're known for. That is what makes them them. So
Which
if
is
you
kind
ask
of
them to tone that
confusing.
down,
That's kind of confusing to me because I feel like if my whole brand was va 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 voo,
mm-hmm.
I would make my millions when I could, and then you probably wouldn't see me again. As I get older, I'ma just grow up and I'ma have my soft life because I've made my money. And this could just be not naivety because I have not yet made the million that I will make. But I feel like if that's what I know it is, like there's a very well known porn star that I know of because of certain guys that I follow and they talk about her. And she kind of did that. Like she knew she was going to get older one day. So she like really did her big one for lack of better terms when she could and saved up her money and like she didn't necessarily rebrand herself but she invested in things behind the scenes that didn't really have to have her face on the big screen of it and now she's comfortable because she knew she wasn't going to want to do that later
um,
on in life.
yeah, for that career. But there are a lot of people in like celebrity that they
They just
still
want to be
want
celebrity.
they just want to be celebrity. That's the only life they know.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't want to give that up because that's what keeps them popular or keeps them front and center. And our mind would be like, you're a mom now, or you're getting older now, or this now, or that now. And they ain't missed the beat because that is how
That's the
they've
brand.
been seen and known
Yeah.
forever. and who's gonna just, if that's how they identify
Mm-hmm.
themselves, if you
Yeah.
take that away, that's a big part of their identity as a performer or
Mm-hmm.
actor, whatever, whatever. If you take that away, then it's like, well, what else is there? So
I don't think you need to. It takes away a big point of their identity. Period. Not just as a performer, but when they get off
yeah,
stage.
identity
Now, who
period.
am I
Who am I? Excuse me.
if I don't have that? Which
Mm-hmm.
is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a whole conversation in
And
itself.
yeah, and there are a lot of people who that's their identity. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm not dressing in a way that gets me attention or gets me paid, uh,
Mm-hmm.
then who am I? What am I about? Honestly, it was so funny. I saw I don't know if this is like kind of on the edge, but risque, but I saw a meme and somebody was like, women were like, guys don't care about lingerie anymore. They don't care. Like, they're like, and then I saw a comment from a guy. He's like, yeah, because y'all wear it outside. Like, it's not special. Y'all wear it in the outfit. Like, it's not special anymore. It's not for. It was like around Valentine's Day or something. And I was like, oh my God, that's so
Which
true.
is crazy.
Just wear it like you just see it on your time, like nothing, like a t-shirt.
Because
Like,
you remember you used to I would see married couples, I would see these women going and like, what's a special occasion? Let me go get something spicy. Let me go get something that's really
that's just
like,
on your timeline. That's just
that is actually insane now that you say it. That's
it's
so
like,
true.
so what is a more attractive to them now is like you being actually having clothes on, because it's like the opposite, because like my timeline is full of people with no clothes, whereas now I want to see you like with dressed nicely and with clothes on, and like,
You can
more.
entice me with the clothes on.
Yeah, it's more of like the opposite now. um you
That's
know
so crazy.
mhm
Like, we had a whole era of Victoria's Secret that built their whole brand on this, like, peekaboo. You only get to see this if you're a special kind of guy or a special kind of
mhm
girl or whatever. Man, now that
and
you
now
say that, that's so
it's
crazy.
just like every other scroll. It's like whatever, and then celebrities just be out here like performing in full blown, just straight up lingerie, like
Yeah,
it's lingerie, you know
like an outfit.
and so now it's not. What do you mean? It's not that's not special. That's nothing. Now it's, I would rather see you in some clothes because I see that all the time. So,
Wow.
mhm.
You remember when, I don't know if you remember when we were younger and it's different than what it is today, but mini skirts came back,
Okay.
and it's not the mini skirts that are today, because
Mhm.
that's like very, very, very short.
Mhm.
But I remember mini skirts coming back and my mom being like, yeah, we had those in the 60s and the 70s, whatever. And they thought that was like risque because like it was like 5 inches from your thigh, like your butt to your thigh. And that was like mini skirt, right? And you
Mhm.
couldn't even wear it in the school. It was like that was considered a mini skirt. If you didn't
Mhm.
have a certain inch from your knee to the skirt, you couldn't wear it. You would get sent home or you would get detention or whatever. And
Mhm.
I'm thinking about like what that term means today and how it's like vastly different. It's like vastly different when you see mini skirt.
Mhm.
I'm just like, what what more can we show?
It's just like nothing. It's like nothing is.
I feel like the older people who are like, oh, the generation, but it's just like, what more do we show?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just
I remember we couldn't wear low cut, and this would may have been a little discriminatory because they were a little bit more adverse to tell people with bigger chests this than smaller chests. But
yeah,
you
for
couldn't wear
sure.
low cut V necks or whatever to school. It
Hmm.
would be like, nah, you got to have an undershirt or you have to have like this or that on or a jacket or something with it.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not here to judge. Listen, I'm really not. I'm just saying what got. I read a lot of comments, a lot of stuff from men, and they're just saying, hey, we don't want to see our women in that. Like most of the time, they just, I don't want to see that. I want you to be more covered. That like that's more attractive because now everywhere they look, nobody has any clothes on. So now it's not like now the opposite is more attractive when you're like covered. So interesting, right?
Well, at the end of the day, I guess
The
do
day got to
what make.
end. So
Shout out to Glorilla girl. We see you
um,
doing your big one on the Meg Stallion tour.
okay,
Uh,
so
but yeah,
it's like twerking and lingerie on every. I'm just saying. So now it's just like,
I haven't found that side of like social media yet. I have seen comments that fall into alignment with that for sure.
mhm.
Um, but I've also seen like backlash from women mostly to men who say that.
No, I see a lot of people being like when, like for instance, I saw an artist. She just what is her name? I can't remember. She won a Grammy with PJ Morton. She has like a real sultry voice. She's kind of deep toned skin. I can't recall her name at the time, but she kind of is known as kind of on the inspirational, but like in the middle side. And so she sings about love and she sings about inspirational things and all that. Well, she just came out. She had like a kind of a more risque song, and the photos were real. She was topless, and she kind of had, one of the Janet Jackson moments. She had some gloves on, and then, or she had like a belt around her, just covering, her end,
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
but the rest was out. And so you saw all these comments about, you don't have to do this, and we don't, like, we really don't want, we don't like you because of your body or how you look. We like you because of how you sound and your artistry, and like, this is just not giving what you think is giving. Like, you just showing too much. Like, it's just over the top. This is unnecessary. Like, we like that you were different than everybody else. We don't want you to be like everybody else. Like, it was just crazy when I was looking at the messages, and then every blue moon you have somebody being like, "Yes, girl, like this is fire," blah blah blah. But for the majority, it was of the messages, it was like, please go put your clothes back on. Like, we
Mm.
enjoy your artistry, and this is taking away. Similar to what I have seen a lot from Chloe Bailey, like her being like ultra
Mm.
sexual, showing a lot of skin when she's like very extremely talented, sing different octaves, play different, different different instruments, and so people just felt like her presentation was overly sexual and it took away from her artistry. And so for some people that are literally, you're an attractive person, some people feel like, hey, like, you don't have to lean that much into your attractiveness because you have all this other stuff that we love you for and we want to see. But if all you show us is that you're attractive, they felt like it took away from seeing the artistry side of them. And so, yeah, that's some people's opinion. But I've noticed that as an artist, I was looking at the comments and people's feedback. Some people just really wasn't feeling it.
That makes
Her fan
sense. I
base.
feel like you're. I feel like you're probably more on the artist side of social media, where you see like people in the industry and probably more than I do, and you can
Mm-hmm.
see like those comments. I have seen comments like that for sure, and but I've also seen like, so how you said the you see every now and then the yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
You'll
yes,
see
fire, yes.
it's flipped, but it's also for people who try to revert away from sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more so like, you can show your body, you can do this because that this is what you've done. So I totally get like how people can say we see you in this light, because we're natural human creatures. Once we see you one way, we're prone to put you in that box.
Same, 100%. And
Like,
anytime you, whether you're sick, super sexy or you're not, like if
yeah,
you're
we
giving
don't
something,
really want to come for that. Your general audience is built off of the trust that what we saw is going to continue to be the product that we come to support. And so this is why a lot of times it is hard to like get out of those boxes. So that makes complete sense about that. I've seen similar comments about Chloe Bailey as well, where they felt like she went a little bit more sexualized than she had to do. I mean, I think there's just like a lot of factors. We've talked about the machine. We've talked about the people behind the scenes. We've talked about managers. There's a lot of things that happen where people make decisions, and it's not just their decision that
yeah,
they made. A lot of times it's like a collective of things that happen, that people feel like they want to do this or they want to do that. Or so sometimes it is like some people who do want to be like, I want to be a little bit more sexual for whatever reason.
hmm, for
That's your
whatever reason,
choice.
yeah. Hmm.
Sometimes it's management, sometimes it's production, sometimes it's like these things. So yeah, I think I would really love, we probably will never, I don't want to say never. She doesn't owe us this and we probably will never hear it, but I would love to hear like who Tim's worked with in making those choices. You know what I mean? Like, because you didn't go to the studio alone. I'm sure you were like working with producers. You had like people. So like what the system looked like. Was it a support system? Was it someone like encouraging your choices? Was it someone deterring you from making that choice and making you feel like this may not be the right choice for your career? Like, I would just love to hear that kind of like aspect about it. And so, yeah, but I think it's really like, I really want to hear your intake on it because you're in this, you're still in this. And as a woman who is attractive and talented, and um, you make conscious efforts to present your talent first, right? Like your gifting and your purpose.
Yeah,
It was just interesting to hear her say, because she has just blown up so big. You know what I'm saying? And just to hear someone say, like, I made a conscientious effort to put this on the back end.
here's the tough part. It's like the person you might want to work with is super talented, but they're a guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they might be used to people
Just showing up.
showing up a certain way and having a relationship with the artist that they work with that is more than platonic. And that may not be an uncommon thing for them. And so you, if that's not what you're into, you have to make a conscious effort to keep it platonic. And
Mm-hmm.
that may mean dressing a certain way. It's just like if you were going out with some, you had to be around a certain guy and going out, but you didn't like him at all and you didn't want him to like you. It's like you would kind of present yourself a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
like to give that work friend, don't talk to me like that vibe, versus if you were going out with somebody you really did like in that way and we're trying to like garner attention from them. So it's
You
same thing.
remember This it reminds me of, you remember that episode of Living Single where Max's college best friend, she finds out she's marrying a woman, and so then the bridal shower now becomes like a lesbian bridal shower, and Regine wears like the baggiest sack she could find, and Khadijah's like, why are you dressed like a sack of potatoes? And she's like, why would I put the smorgasbord out when it's not open to eat? Like, why would I do that? She looked crazy. She had a prison suit on, honestly. It was almost like a prison suit that she had on. But it makes me think about that. It's
Basically, she's
just
like, I'm not
like,
trying to tempt y'all. I'm
I'm
trying
not trying
to.
to tempt y'all because I have no interest in whatever's happening here whatsoever. I'm here in support of my friend, and I don't want to take away from any of that support. I'm gonna just be who I am.
It's kind of like, and it's kind of not like this, but you know when you going somewhere and you need to tone it down because it's not your day. Like, let's say it's somebody else's birthday.
Oh yeah, I'm a big proponent of don't be trying to show up on.
Outshine the bride or outshine the birthday person. You know
It's
what I'm
not your
saying?
day.
It's not your.
I will tell
So
you, it's not your day.
for you to dress in a way it's like, look at me, look at me, look at me, and it's not your day. Like, why would you do that? What would make you do that? Are you trying? You know? So it's important that when you're dressing, she had a point that
Yeah,
you dress for the occasion. Her occasion was to study and to get her work done. And
yeah,
she dressed for that. And so I think that was wise. And I think a lot of we as women could do a lot better job at that. No men, nobody's saying taking responsibility from them and saying they should not be held accountable and treat women and not, be overtly, making little, suggestions and all of that. But if you know you got body, for lack of a better word, body, yada, yada, you know you working with a lot, you might want to tone it down.
depending
Um,
on what your goal is,
if your
you
goal
may
is to,
wanna, you may
if
wanna.
if you're in an atmosphere with a lot of men and your goal is to not is to be incognito and not to garner too much attention because you're really trying to get a certain thing done, you
Mhm.
might want to work a little differently. It depends on what you're trying to do. Some in some regards, the beauty works in your favor. You know,
Pretty
like
privilege is a
honestly,
thing.
pretty privilege is really a thing. In some regards, you being beautiful is helpful to the situation. Maybe in business, maybe in, get you in a room, yada, yada, yada. You
Mhm.
enhancing that beauty might be helpful. The right outfit might be helpful. But you gotta, that's why I said she's wise because it takes a wise person to discern what moment is what moment. So kudos to her.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Um, I saw this question and I thought it would be interesting to ask you. If you had to go to a deserted island for 2 years, there are
2 years.
2 years, just two. They said longer, but I'm taking it to two. Three things you can bring. What book, what album, and
Mm.
what movie are you taking with you to this island? Get off the island.
Okay. Move out.
What book, album,
Album.
movie?
That's tough.
Three things.
I'm gonna take the Bible. It has a lot of
Absolutely.
stories in there.
Absolutely.
So many stories, so much wisdom. And
Absolutely.
I feel like 80-90% of the books that we got is like self-help books. And that's really the only genre I really read is self-help. And so I feel like 90% of them is based off biblical principles anyway. So I might as well just, stick with
Cut
the
the
original.
middleman.
Cut the middleman. So
Mhm.
I take the Bible for sure. And they have stories, they have like just all kinds of things.
Man, so much
Um
drama.
so much drama. Oh my God. Anyway, album, that's really tough. I cannot say I'm such a person of diversity. I have to come back to the movie. I'm gonna say this is gonna sound really weird because I haven't seen this movie in a long time, but I feel like it's kind of a cop out because it's like 6 parts to it. I'm gonna say Roots because I feel
You're
like if
taking roots too much. That is hilarious. And I feel like before you say what you say, I feel like your answer is the same reasoning for the answer I'm gonna give because of the length. But go on.
okay, here's what I'm saying because
Roots
here's why though. It's entertaining. It's
for who?
historical. It has a lot of different stories. Kuta Kinte. Your name is Toby, boy. Kuta.
What is your name? Kunta Kinte.
Woo! Yeah, okay,
Your
so
name. Come on, that
I'm,
is funny. I did
here,
not expect you to say
here's why
roots.
though.
I
Here's
did
why
not
though.
expect you to say roots. That
It's
is really funny.
historical. It's historical, and I'm very into history right now. Like historical things, I'm just very into like his story.
Oh
Historical.
my
It has
gosh, I'm
an
taking it
element of
back.
entertainment,
I
and
am
it's
taking it back.
long. It's long, so I could
Yep.
like get some
It'll
play
just every
out of
time
it.
you play it, it'll be like, okay, well, I have
It's
now
almost like
6
a series.
hours.
So probably Roots because it's so long. That's why. But I love my Temptations, Jackson 5, Mary J.
Yeah,
Like
I
those
thought
are great
about them
movies, but it's
too.
not long enough. I'm going for length here.
That is funny. Okay. Circling back around to the album.
I don't have an album.
You
I
ain't
don't
got
have an album.
nothing. You don't have a. We could do, I think sometimes soundtracks are cop outs, but you could do a soundtrack. Something to
I
not
don't
nothing.
I don't have nothing that I would want to take with me for 2 whole years and listen to the same thing over and over. And I just can't think of nothing.
Okay, 3. If I gave you 3, if I gave you
Three,
3 albums, can you give us 3?
I'd probably take Alive in South Africa because I
Man,
feel like
that was on my list. Israel Hortons was on my list.
here's
Alive
why
in South
because
Africa.
Alive in South Africa because it
It's
has a lot of
so many
diversity.
layered.
It's a lot of
Yes,
diversity.
you
It's
get
like
happy, you get worship, you get dance, you
all
get
that.
all of it. That was
Alive in South Africa. That was
yes.
dope. So I would get, and then it's like because it's live, it like feels like people are there. So it's like at least you might not feel alone because you feel like
Because you
there's a
hear
lot
the
of people on the
people's.
album. But
Yup.
like, so I would probably take that. I would probably take a Michael Jackson album, and I would
Michael
probably take a
Jackson was on
Stevie
my
Wonder
list too, but
album.
I don't think we have the same album.
So
Michael Jackson was on
mine
my
would be
list too.
Songs in the Key of Life for sure, and then I would take probably
Stevie Wonder.
Thriller. Yeah, Songs in the Key of Life for
Oh,
sure.
okay. I thought you said Michael Jackson. You
No,
take
no, no. And then I
Thriller.
probably take like Thriller because
Nah,
it
I
has
probably.
it has like my favorite song, like one of my favorite songs of all time. Um,
That's fair.
yeah, on it. So
That is so
Human
funny
Nature. It
because
has Human Nature on it.
your reasoning for all of that is my same. So I said this, and I'll show y'all my notes if you think I'm lying, because I was like, I have to think this through. Um, it would be the Bible for
Mm-hmm.
sure. KJV for me because
Not even new KJV. I can't read KJV.
no KJV. Let me tell you something. So
Be thou
recently, like
thou
in the
doest
no,
thou is
in the last few years, like in the last few years, I really have been getting to the KJV, and it really has like transitioned some things for me when I'm reading it. So
Okay.
yes, because I grew up, I was like, I had study Bibles, I was doing like NLT, NIV, even new KJV and stuff. But recently I've just been like, okay, so it would probably be the KJV. Because the Bible, even though that word I have hid in my heart, I still need to be able to see it. If I'm on an island by myself for 2 years, I have to have something to
Yeah, I'm bringing a Bible, 100%.
like
Like, what else am
no,
I gonna bring?
what else am I going to read that's going to encourage, not only encourage me, but challenge me, even though I'm in the one of the biggest challenges of my life because I'm on a deserted island, like what? But that for
I feel
sure.
I feel like the Bible speaks back to you, and so you can make it. Because the Bible
Yes.
also speaks back to you, it's like a conversation. So you can make it with that. And I don't think other books speak back to you like that.
I don't need to be reading a self-reflective help book on an island. What am I going to do? I'm on the island. Now I'm thinking about the fact that I can't get off the island. I
Yeah.
need this.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Um, movie. I said for one of the same exact reasons. I said Jackson 5 American Dream
Okay. That was next for
because
me. Justified me.
not only the length, but it has everything. It got the right amount of drama, the right amount of funny, the right amount of music, the right amount of triumph, the right amount of like going down, coming up. Five
I think
hours, you gonna have that running in the background? Because I don't want to take like a 5 heartbeats or something like that's gonna make me think about my family. I want to really just be like looking at something that's like gonna give me everything all in one. It's gonna inspire me. It's gonna pull my emotion, but it's gonna make me laugh. But then I'm gonna sing along.
mm-hmm.
For me, it's a great island movie.
It is. I just didn't pick it too. It would have been next for me because I already know it like the back of my hand, and
Same,
so
I
it's
do
like
too, and I know Roots too. And I was like,
I don't know
I
roots like that.
don't wanna
I
see.
don't know
I
roots like
feel
that.
like if you knew Roots like the back of your hand,
I don't
you
know
wouldn't
roots
want to
like the back of
see
my hand.
that. You wouldn't want to see that because it is.
I don't I don't
It's a
know roots
lot
like that.
less triumph, a lot more strife. And I need a balance, right?
She
It
like
ain't
me
a
some
lot of
joy.
humor. It ain't really no humor in Roots, if we be honest. It ain't none.
I was like, it's long. I can
At
get
least with American Dream, I can laugh at past scenes that I've watched with my family, and not only just with my family, but by myself. When he walk out with that jacket, get in the car, man. That, the Joseph, the ice cream, all of it is just
Yeah, Ice iconic for
grayed out.
sure.
Yeah, grade A
But he's
comedy.
coming out with they're coming out they're making another one with his nephew, Jafar.
I saw that, but I think that's the Michael Jackson story, isn't it? It's just the Michael Jackson story, is it
Just the
not?
Michael Jackson. They're making another one about
Yeah,
Michael
they're
Jackson.
making another, which I will watch for sure. But
I
the
think it's gonna
American
be good
Dream, I'm gonna watch it because he looks just like him.
because he sounds just like him.
I saw him moving in one of them.
It's crazy.
Thinking, thinking, thinking. Been thinking about the good life. Been thinking about the good life. Thinking about my baby. Like, it's just so funny. It's so iconic. Yes, I could put that on loop. And then before I know it, days and days and days have passed, and I've been watching The American Dream. For album, I literally put Israel Houghton Alive in South Africa on my list for the
Wow.
same reason. The
Yeah.
diversity of it, you just really feel like you're getting this joy. You get like worship. You also get like a little bit of down up. You get the people in the background. I said that. I actually said Michael Jackson history
Hmm.
if before. And I also said Tyler the Creator Flower Boy, just because I feel like there's still these like levels of things that you get. You get like
Mm-hmm.
the sonic notes, you get these downtimes, you get rap, you get a lot of cultivation of different things. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, we would be on our islands alone, and I would hear you listening to Roots, and you would be listening to the American Dream.
I probably come
Oh,
off that island real
I make a boat. You really would
black
come up
power.
Black Power.
I probably
White supremacist, you're going down. Like you really would. Roots. That is hilarious. I cannot believe you said Roots. Well, now that we know who would take what, I really that's so funny again to realize that we would have. I cannot believe we both said Israel because I literally had him on my list. I will show it for the same reasons, and I had American Dream for the same
listen.
reasons because it's a little bit lighter,
Listen.
just a little bit lighter than Roots for me. But I get why you chose Roots. We couldn't just choose the small movies because people I saw people choosing like Castaway and stuff. Why are you looking at movies about being castaway while you cast it away? That's crazy. I don't want to see that.
Right.
I just need something to
Right.
uplift the spirit for me. But so we just celebrated Father's Day. Um, you have a very smart and amazing dad that I've had the pleasure of meeting. He is very wise. Um, and I thought it would be interesting to talk about parental friendships, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I I honestly feel like we're in a culture right now or a society that wants people to cast their parents to the side for trauma, whatever reasons
Wow.
they feel, and that doesn't mean you're not justified in the way that you feel. Yes, your parents should be held accountable for things that may have permanently scarred you or did things. But I think for me, I made specific choices in being friends with my parents. And so I thought it would be interesting to talk about that with you because I've seen you and your mother interact and how you love each other. And I would garner to say you and your mom are friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
We go through
sure.
I think I don't know if it's like this for everybody, but we go through like seasons. I've had seasons where I talk to my mother every single day, maybe multiple times a day. And then I've had seasons where I talk to her like every other day, and then times where I talk to her like a couple of times a week. So it just kind of depends on like what's going on at the time in our lives where we would talk all the time or less.
So do you believe that
Yeah.
children can actually as black children who said we heard growing up, we ain't one of your little friends.
The
Can
friend.
you actually become a
Yeah.
little friend when you get older to your
Yes,
parent?
you are. Yeah, we're like in a group. Like my mother and her three daughters, we're all in a group text, like a group me, and we literally we're saying something every single day. We're sending pictures and messages, and like every single day we're talking. So maybe I might not talk to her on the phone, but I in some way am communicating with her. So I 100% think that as you get older, your parents become your friends. I mean, as long as it's something healthy, and they're able to have healthy boundaries, and you're able to operate in those healthy boundaries. They allow you to be an adult, you know, but they're there for you when you need them. It's tough to be a parent. I can only imagine because you have adult children, but then they still need you at times in their lives. So it's just
Mhm.
like, yeah, I want you to be adult, but I also am still your parent, and I still want to help you, and I still want to be there for you, and then they're there for you. It's just family. So 100%, I think you can be friends with your children.
When did you realize your mother had become one of your little friends?
Mm, college. I think I've always been close to my mom. You know,
Hmm.
yeah, I've always been close to my mom. I think spiritually, she was a very spiritual person, and at a young age, I came into like a very strong spiritual awareness. So she served as someone to help like help guide me through that process. Um, and just helping me to understand myself a little bit more. Uh, but as of recent, my dad has become one of my little friends.
Which I love
So it's
because
like,
I love your dad. Your dad is so funny.
yeah,
He's so
everybody
smart.
freaking loves
He's
my
so
dad.
smart.
It is
He's
so
so
crazy.
funny. I love your dad so much. He is just like a wealth of knowledge. I was like,
Everybody
tell
loves
me
my dad.
more.
It's
Tell me
crazy.
more. I felt like I was like, feed me, Seymour. Feed me. I was like, yes, give me everything you got. He's so funny and he's so
My dad gonna teach you
smart.
something.
He is so smart.
He's gonna teach you something. He reads all
I
day.
love
Yeah,
that.
no, he is. Yeah, we have become very close. Like we talk almost every day. He's retired now, so he calls me every day. He messages me all the time, and I talk to him every day. And we have little things that we talk about, that my mom doesn't talk about. I don't talk. We have our own relationship, like really has blossomed, and I'm so grateful for that because it wasn't like that growing up. He was worked 5 jobs, and he was just very, 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 very hardworking. And so you could just tell that that was on his mind most of the time. He had a bigger family to provide for, and he just wanted us to make it. He just wanted us to be alive because we were like in a very like kind of a violent city. And he just wanted us to get out of there, and we did. And I think after that, he kind of let himself like ease up a little bit. And as of the last 2 or 3 years, he's just been really just pivotal, and we have really grown in our relationship. I just always thought that we were very different. And I was like, well, my dad, I think I'm more like my mom, and my dad's just so different from me. But as we got closer, I saw how similar we truly are. That a
Mm.
lot of the gifts that I have, he has the same gifts. And a lot of the ways that I have, like I really got from him. I thought I didn't know because I didn't know him as well to know that okay, I get this from my dad. But in getting to know him better as a person and him sharing with me about his life and me learning more about him, and I got to see like, oh wow, you're more like your father than you ever thought and you ever
Wow.
knew. And so, yeah,
How
yeah.
has that been like building that relationship and thinking that, you know, I guess it kind of blossoming into something you never saw it blossoming into, for lack of better terms?
um, 100%. men aren't the best communicators. You know, they're not usually really good at communicating their feelings. But as he's gotten older, he's become just so much more mushy, for lack of a better words, or willing to communicate how he feels,
More
and
sentimental.
his love, sentimental, his love for me, you know, and his care for me, and like I had some really tough times in the last 2 or 3 years, and he just showed up in really big ways, and I just didn't know, and not that he didn't show up when I was younger, but of course he did, but you don't have a awareness, it's like of that. And part of you as a young person, you feel like that's what you're supposed to do. You're my dad. You're just supposed to do that. But as an adult, you feel like you have a choice. It's like he doesn't have to do this for you because he raised you, and now you're out here on your own, and you should be able to figure it out on your own. But he just kept still being there for me. In a way that he didn't literally did not have to, and he didn't make me feel guilty for it. Like he just loved me and was like, hey, I believe in you. Like anything I try, he supports. He
Wow.
supports everything I do. Like anything I do, he's gonna be like one of the first to support me, and he might give me a little speech beforehand, but he's gonna support me. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so thankful for him. He loves so hard. He's prayerful. Like every time he's like, well, let's just pray about it. He's always praying for me. Always, he gonna warn me about something, but he's always like,
As
because
a
I
dad,
travel
I
so
think
much, he be like,
does.
but he just really is very supportive, really loving, is always willing to teach and share his knowledge, and I think we have our own relationship. I'm really on him about his health and just how much he means to us, and so I want him to like take care of his health because we want him to be here for a long, long time, and so I think he's able to you know, accept the fact that, I feel that way because I love him so much and I want him to be here. And unfortunately, he suffered a lot of loss in the last few years himself. And
Mm.
like all his siblings passing away, he's like the only remaining sibling. And I think it through that grief, he was able to acknowledge the fact that, hey, yes, I'm so sorry about that, but you still mean the world to us, and we still need you. And so, although you might feel alone in that regard, you're not, because we need you so very much. And I think um, because me needing him, it helped him as well. It's weird, like with your parents, you don't want to need them, right? When you get to a certain point, because you feel like you shouldn't. But like when you do need them, a part of them, even though they're like, ugh, like I gotta be there for my kid, and they're grown, a part of them wants to be there. Like they
Because it's
still,
still forever
it
a
makes them feel,
parent. You never stop being a parent, right? It's
yeah,
just like,
it makes them feel
yeah.
valuable and needed and all of that. And so, and I don't know, I'm much more interested in his life. I never understood him growing up, and now I just understand him so much more, and I have such more compassion for him, and I'm just very grateful. Like I understand him a lot more.
Do you think your mindset shifted a bit to be able to allow that understanding?
Yeah, 100%. I just didn't know him in a way, like your parents, especially men, they want you to see them in a certain light. Like I'm a provider, I'm protected, that's pretty much it. But like that doesn't make me feel close to you. What makes me feel close to you is your vulnerability and learning about you, and
Mhm.
being able to allow you to be there for me and me to be there for you in a way. And that makes me feel close to someone. And it takes vulnerability to share your feelings, even with your children, and to share that, hey, I miss you, I love you, I care about you. That takes vulnerability. Someone who's not vulnerable or aren't isn't going to say those things. And I think, honestly, I can't even put it on myself as saying like, oh, I just had this awakening and I shifted my mindset. No, like his outpouring of love toward me is what opened me up, honestly, and helped me to see um, that I could lean into him in a way, to be there for me. Because growing up, it was just like more so like fiercely independence was rewarded. Like if you got it done on your own, it was like kudos to you. Like, oh man, you're really, And so I internalized that, and like if I don't need you, then you'll be proud of me because I don't need you. Where, and then if I do need you, then I felt less than, because I have a need and you shouldn't be helping me, and I should be showing up with my everything, and then you'll be proud of me. But honestly, I got so much closer to him when I had a need and he was able to show up for me. And so, weird, huh?
I don't think it's weird. I think the reason I asked that is because so I'm very much so aware that I grew up in a, I wouldn't say uncommon, but I had a more open atmosphere in
Mm-hmm.
my family dynamic. Even after my father passing, but my mom was very open with us, and
Mm-hmm.
that didn't necessarily always foster relationships between us all. We're all different human beings, so we all responded to it differently. But I know for me, that openness made me feel comfortable in being open and being communicative and being vulnerable. But also too, that didn't change my mom for being who my mom was, right? I went through
Mm-hmm.
the same teenage phase that everybody went through and thinking she'll never understand me. Like even though she's went through the same thing, if not worse.
Right.
And there was an awakening that happened, especially after my dad passed away, to let me know my mom was human. She was
Mm-hmm.
just a human being, like
Mm-hmm.
going through emotions just the same way I'm going through, had desires, has hopes, has dreams, had desires, had hopes, has had dreams. And that kind of like shifted my perspective when I started relating to her, because I was like, man, you really are someone the same way I'm growing up. You grew up and you had these things. So um, I wanted to ask about your dad because I think sometimes it, like you said, it can be different. Like your dad shows up, and I guess maybe for the girls especially, it's like you want to be this like Timberman, right? Like I can take on anything. Like I'm Sasquatch, pretty much. I'm the bad beast of the West. I can chop down anything, but sometimes it's not that you have to chop down something on the outside versus something on the inside that has to get chopped. So I think it's very beautiful that your relationship shows that age and time doesn't really
Man.
matter, especially when you have like faith and
Mm-hmm.
belief in God, where things can shift for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you
Honestly,
think?
oh, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
No, I think something changed in me after my divorce. I think like just going to therapy and um, really having to analyze my interaction with my ex-husband and my choices and my relation with my father. It made me have an awareness that I needed him in a way that I didn't really have growing up, and how that affected me relationally, you know? And it wasn't that he wasn't around, it just we didn't connect in a way that I needed. And every child isn't the same. You know,
Mm-mm.
it's so hard because everybody has different needs. And I was so emotional and so needy emotionally. My mom told me, she was like, I don't think your dad just knew what to do with you. Like, you were just so vastly different from everyone else. You know, I'm an artist. I'm very, as an artist, you have to have strong
You're
emotions to,
you're naturally vulnerable.
yeah, you have to have these emotions to emote in your artistry. You know, you have to be
Hmm.
in touch with your emotions to be able to share that through art. And my mom basically said that everything that I did and I was like the opposite of him, like the areas that challenged him the most, you know? And so she was like, you were just needy and mushy and clingy and all of that. As a child, I was very just touchy and just want to be by you. It's this running joke in my family that I invade people's personal space. Like, I was just like always wanting to be up under you and on you and in your face. And
You
like,
want to know the funny part? It's still a running joke to this day because you're still the same exact person. I just, I just want to do a, I just want to do a commercial break here. Even though I grew up in a very like affectionate household, Tarrah and I didn't know each other very well, but she was so close to me on the couch one day. And I was like, there is so much space on the couch. And she was like, yeah, but I'm here. And I was like, well, and I just, from that day forward. And it wasn't that I'm not. I'm affectionate because I grew up in an affectionate family. But I was like, there is so much space on the other side of the couch. We literally don't know each other like that. But here we are today. Tara and I literally fell asleep on the same book at one point on the floor, like
I don't remember this, but
studying, studying
that's probably
on
true.
the floor.
That's how
But
I am.
yes.
I don't know why. I don't know why I am so like, and now, I mean, as an adult, like I'm fully aware and I give people personal space because I'm like, but I am a very, like, not in my natural element, I am just a very just close and want to be like it. We have this, back home, we would eat Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner at my grandmother's house. And then my grandmother's house isn't that big, so we would all be in my grandmother's bed after we ate. I'm talking about four grown women: me, my mama, my sister, and my other sister. How we all fit in this lady bed watching a little bitty box TV, I don't know, but we did it every holiday, and so that's just, I don't know. We didn't have a big house. It was one bathroom for six people. Like, I'm just used to being up under people. I'm used to being close to people. So, but my mom said that that was how I was, and I challenged him, and so, she was like, your dad love you. He just didn't really know what to do with you.
Yeah.
But as I
Which is
got
very
older,
real talk. We
yeah,
don't
like,
real that, yeah.
yeah. So. But I mean, I remember sitting on my dad's lap. This was like something I did, and going, happy face, sad face, mean face. Like I would do that. He had moles. I would play with his moles. Like I was just like all over him. Like that's just how I was. And so, um, I don't know. That's just how I was. Like with just people that I love, I just be up in your space. And so now, like I had learned that, he needed space. So I wasn't looking to be as up in his face, like as I got older. But for him to come to a place where he was able to like share his feelings with me and how much he cares about me and loves me, it kind of opened me back up again. And so allowed me to just, be more open. So yeah. Look at your
Listen,
best friends. And I am not even the most touchy feely one of
she
us.
really is not actually. It gets worse. If you get, which is crazy because I thought I was coming in like, oh, our grown up, we shared
No,
all this space, but even you saying like six people sharing all that space, even though with so many people in my house, we didn't share. We had multiple bathrooms. We didn't have to share that much space together.
yeah,
We may have been on the couch or doing things together or sharing meals or whatever, but it can get a little bit worse, y'all. Not
no, no,
even worse.
no.
It can go to another level.
When we're together, we're all on the same couch, all in the same, like we're
It doesn't
all.
matter how small the couch is. It could literally be a love seat. Two seats. It's three of us. Three of us like this on the couch. One leg over here. It
What
be
is
one
wrong
leg
with
over
us?
here. It be one leg over there. It be one
Yes,
arm
a
over
hundred
here.
percent, a
We will
hundred
make it.
percent.
And if somebody try to make it seem like it's not working, what is wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Where you going? So what's the problem? So you hate us. So you hate us. That's what you're saying.
You be like,
So
I'm
we're a
going to the
problem.
bathroom. I'll be right back. It's so funny. It is so funny. I don't know when you grow up with sisters like that. I think maybe if you grow
I
up with
think it
sisters,
is sisters. I think it
you just
really is a
be
sisters thing. If you
next to
grow with,
each other.
you just be on top of me and my
Yes.
siblings would be in the like this.
It's so funny because like I used to work for my sister, and when I would be talking to my sister, I'd be like this. When we talk, we'd be like in each other's face, like, and people used to see us talk like, what? And one lady started crying because of how seeing me and my sister interact with each other, because we would just like,
Oh,
she realized that her and her sister had a falling out or something like that. But when I said
oh,
we be in each other face, like we just
we
be in
be.
each other face,
It's
it's so
like
wild.
in our like larger family, it's a running joke. When we come around, they be like, "Oh, there go them O'Brien girls," because we be in each other. We be like this right here,
Yeah,
laughing, kikiing, making
yep,
jokes, all
yep,
kind of stuff. They be like, oh, they're good. There go them O'Brien girls.
yeah, yeah,
We just grew up that way. That's just how
yeah,
we never, even though we fought to the
yeah.
death, SmackDown, WWE, head to the wall. I remember, I remember one time me and my sister was fighting. My sister, she like almost 8 years older than me. So I know I was getting on her nerves, but baby, you couldn't tell me nothing at 12. I was a dog. I was gonna fight you to the death. And she was grown but living at the house. We was fighting. and I pushed her down them steps, and her head hit that wall, and I was like, oh my God, are you okay? And then she tried to act like she was knocked out, and she got up, and I'm talking about mushed me into the wall. And then I'm like, now we got two holes in the wall. So now what we got to do? We got to make sure that mommy don't see this, mommy dad don't see this when they get home. Now what we gonna do? And we put pictures over the wall. And to this day, not to this day, it was years before my mom realized that there was holes in that wall. We moved pictures around. And one day she was doing something. She said, where this hole came from? I don't know. It's skirt off. That's just the
Girl,
love. You just fight and then you
you
just
just fight. You just fight and make up.
make up. Cause ain't nobody go. Cause let me tell you something. I can talk about my sister to this day, but if you say a
But you better not.
dog word, we fight. Period.
You better not. Yeah.
Um,
Family is really something. It really is something.
it really is interesting to become friends
Yeah.
with your parents growing up,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially like later in life.
Yeah.
Um, do you see any differences between the friendship you have with your dad versus the friendship you have with your mom?
Of course. 100%. 100%. Um, they're just vastly different. Vastly different. Vastly different.
Is it just you? Do you feel like it's based on the people that they are, just as different human beings, or like because it is your mom, one and your dad, or is it a culmination of both, or what do you
Honestly,
think?
I think it has to do a lot with me and where I am right now in my
Mm-hmm.
life. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think certain people, I just think it really just depends on me. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. I think different seasons bring out, you need different things from people, and or different seasons they're in, they need different things. So my mom works kind of a lot more than she did at certain times in her life, and she has a different kind of job. So she used to be able to like talk to me on the phone while she was like during the day, and now she can't. But and so now when she gets home, she's like with my dad, and so they have their little time together. So yeah, now my dad has more free time during the day,
Oh,
so
so it's
now
kind of
he calls
switched,
me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it kind of switches. So.
which is interesting.
hmm
Hmm.
So they tell each other everything. So now it's just like basically, if you talk to one of them, you talk to both of them because they gonna be like, he's like, can like he'll be like, well, can I tell your mom that? And you be like, yeah, go ahead, tell mama. You know what I'm saying? So, but he'll ask, so we feel like we have our own special thing, and then me and my mom, we have our own special thing. So, yeah.
That's fair. That's interesting to think about that switch too, because did did your mom feel a certain kind of way when you and your dad first started getting close?
If she did, she didn't tell me.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think she cares. In that way. Um, yeah, if she did, she didn't tell me.
You know, sometimes people be like, "Don't be telling them something you ain't go," but they're telling each other everything anyway, so it doesn't really
Yeah, it
even
just don't
matter.
matter. It don't matter. So, yeah, a word travels in my family. So if you don't want somebody to know something, you better not tell nobody.
I feel like that's true in a lot of families. I'm not just gonna
Like,
say
just don't
black
tell
families,
anybody.
but I just feel like,
Because it's going to be like this. You talk to Tarrah? Did she tell you? Oh, well, let me, all that. So it's just like, you might as well.
let me
You
tell
don't
you,
want people to know? Just don't tell anyone.
my mom be trying to act like she dropping off hot news, and she be trying to act like she found it on the side of the road. And I'm like, we already know that she told you that. We already know that Mika told you that. You don't have to act like we don't already know that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, stop playing it. Stop playing this game, girl. Sick. So, I would think if you could give advice to someone about what it takes to get to this point where you really can feel like your parent is your friend,
Hmm.
what would be the advice you would give that person?
Work on yourself
Mm-hmm.
first. The fact of the matter is you can't control other people.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, work on yourself. Um, and when I say work on myself, that might mean therapy. That might mean it's a continual thing, you know? There were times I had to be vulnerable about, my feelings and continue to share. Um, but I think,
Vulnerable and like, what do you mean? Like in some of the ways that you felt growing up with
yeah, like,
your parent?
yeah, yeah. Some of
Mm-hmm.
the ways that you felt growing up, or just some of the things that you feel like you need now, or places where you don't feel like you measure up, or whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just being straight about that and just telling them what it what how you really feel, and you probably will need to go to therapy in some kind of way to get the tools to be able to do that. And then just knowing that, like, you don't have to take everything personally. Like, some
Mm-hmm.
things are just, it had nothing to do with you. Some of the stuff that you went through, or they weren't, it had nothing to do with you. And it's really about the story you tell yourself about the situation and what happened. Because another sibling encountered the same situation, but they told themselves a different story, which created a different outcome for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, it's just about really doing some self reflection. Therapy, things like reading, studying therapy helps you to do some self reflection. Um, to kind of figure out where those things come from, those struggles that you might have come from, and then you're able to address it and continue to grow and heal. We all have things, we all have things that we bring to the world based on how we grew up. You know, everyone doesn't know. Like, I was a kind of a different kid. I was high energy, high, highly
You're a little bit
interactive,
emotionally intelligent.
emotional, very talkative, very, all these things. So, which was opposite from the previous child. She was an introvert,
Mm-hmm.
very scientific, very systematic, very self soothing. She barely cried and I hollered. We were like opposite. So, um, your parents have to navigate you and learn you, and you learn them. And that can take a while, and it's
Was
just not a one stop shop. Like, all the kids aren't the same.
was there a
So,
moment that you had to realize maybe you were comparing yourself to her and you had to stop that?
100%.
Because
That
I
was
think I experienced that the same in my household.
a
Like,
100%.
when you
My,
say that everybody has a different story, we all grew up with different parents.
yeah, 100%. I think I got to understand that I don't really know when. Maybe it was college or something because I was able to be out of the home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think a lot of things I was able to see about myself when I was in college. And I was able to see my strengths. That's when I really developed, and people saw my singing and my musicality as like something to see, or it was a big deal there. And growing up, it wasn't so much. I did it, but it wasn't like as big of a deal, you know. And just my personality and just how that came across to people. And I didn't know that was special. I just thought everybody was the same, you know. Like I didn't see that as like some kind of
Which
gift
is,
or
yeah.
yeah. I didn't see that as like
See,
anything. I just thought
this
I'm
is
just like
funny.
that. Like that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And so, but like I remember a specific instance. This was I was grown by then, and my sister was like, "Can you come over here?" And I was like, "Why?" She was like, "I need you to entertain these guests." And I realized in that moment, like, I had a gift that she didn't. Like, she was
Mm,
a flipping genius, basically. You know, like, top of her class, brilliant, like, beautiful, homecoming, like, what don't you have? But in this regard, she was an introvert, and she really hates entertainment. At the time, she's gotten better at it, but since she's had kids, but she really hated it. And for me, it was like, hey guys, blah, blah, you know, like this is like, and I'm like, yeah, you know, da 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 da, hey guys, you know,
you really would be WB. Yeah.
yeah, baby, you know. And for me, it was like, yeah, let's have a good time. I'm turning up, and that was like natural for me. It wasn't anything
Yeah.
that I had to do. It was just like who I was. And so I at that moment it was like a reminder that yeah, y'all are different. She is amazing, but you're amazing too. And you have things
Mm-hmm.
that you are
Wow.
amazing at, and you know, your way with people and your ability to make people laugh and enjoy themselves and talk and spark conversation and have a good time. That was a gift as well. So yeah, that was something that I never thought about that. You know, the youngest, you just think you're just being a brat, and extra. You know, they call you
Oh,
extra
yeah.
and dramatic your whole life. You think you're extra, you're dramatic, and that's just a bad thing. You know, you see it as like a negative thing. But it wasn't until I got older and I got more into my gifts that I saw that it was a like if you're gonna be in front of thousands of people, you better be a little dramatic. You better have a little bit of extra.
A
You
little
better
bit
have some. You
pizzazz.
better have some something. And I came to know that like that extra and that dramatics and all of that was by design, and helpful in the things that I do. I'm standing before classrooms, or I'm standing, speaking to people, or I'm singing, and I'm all that, and I'm on big stages. You better be quick on your feet and have some kind of funny or something. So yeah.
That's fair. She's downplaying it for you all because she has been in very many so countries singing on very much. So we talk about Israel Houghton and Alive in South Africa. She was in Africa, alive and very well, singing on very many
Not alive
stages.
in Africa.
So,
She was in
so
Africa and she was alive.
and very well and singing and doing a thing, which is
I
so
can't wait to go
funny.
back. Yeah.
Yes, I can't wait to go back either. I think it's so interesting to see that. I really wanted to just have this conversation because not only are we coming off of Father's Day, which gets a little flack, and I think it's a great story that you and your dad have of
Hmm.
like growing up and you feeling so far from him as a
Yeah.
child, and now you feel so close to him
Yeah.
as an adult. But also to just the stories of like because
Emotionally. I want to say far emotionally because he was
Emotionally,
very
yes, he was
present.
very much so a present father there, took care of
Hmm.
you, made sure
Yeah.
that you had what you
Hey.
needed for sure.
Yeah, big
And
moments showed up. Big moments for sure, 100%. But emotionally, we just weren't close in that way. Like in those formidable years. Like once you're not a
yeah,
baby anymore, it's just like, okay, what do we talk about? Did you do your work? Did you do your homework? Da, 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 da. Okay, yeah. Okay, what do we talk about now? It's like we didn't really, you
and
know.
now you all have that connection, which is very
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Just very, very nice. I was also to a different child, but it was different for me because my mother embraced that because she was artsy too.
Okay, my
So
mom's not
she
artsy
was like,
at all.
yes, the
I'm the only
drama of it
artsy one.
all.
In the immediate family, I'm the only artsy one. My nieces and nephews, my niece, the oldest niece, she's
Mm.
like exactly like me. Like I think my sister having me helped her with her because she understands her because of me,
Mm.
you know? But I'm the only one. So I was just like weird, you know?
Genealogy works a little like that, though. We don't think about how siblings can interact with, because I have a niece like me too.
Hmm.
She's very much so like likes the arts, but also likes to go to the library and likes to like do
Hmm.
these things that I was doing when I was the same age. And I talked to
Hmm.
her a lot. Like she literally, her birthday just passed, and she was telling me what she wanted for her birthday. And my sister was like, "You had something delivered to the house?" And I was like, "Yeah." She asked for it. I had to text you and told you I was getting it delivered or whatever. But my mom wasn't terribly artsy because she's very sciencey. I think it was like a little bit of my dad being in the band, and then just like her feeling, especially with him being gone, she fostered that in me and just like let me be. But she was always, my mom is a very forthright person. She's very affectionate, but she also will like tell you what's going on. And
Hmm.
she doesn't hold back verbiage. Like that's why I was like, I knew my body parts growing up.
Hmm.
Just her being in that. So that allowed me to have a different perspective in the world, which I know it's not the same. But even with that, it even having that like closeness to her growing up, we still had this friction that happened when I
Hmm.
became a teenager because
Hmm.
I was a teenager,
Oh
right?
yeah.
You're just a teenager and you're just like, I hate everything, I hate everybody
Hate
because
everything and
tonight will
everybody.
be the night that I will fall for you.
Yeah, for
Like you're
sure.
just so emo. You're just so like
Going
everything is
through
the
your
end
changes.
of the world. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
And then I got older and I appreciated her bluntness, but I also went to college and I started to realize she's an adult. She was a human being. She
Yeah.
was someone with hopes and dreams. And then, when my dad passed anyway, and it was just like these emotions that I've really never seen her. I mean, we lost people, but her exhibiting this, the person who she revered as like the love of her life, is now gone.
Hmm.
So I'm seeing her emote this. I'm like, this is actually a human being who's actually going through like actual trauma, just like me.
Hmm.
We're not the only ones going through the trauma at the same time. And so it really made me understand that a lot of times our parents are doing the best they can with
The
what they
best they can.
have.
The best they can. The literal best they can.
They're really just doing the best that they can. I mean, I think about if we were to examine the way that we show up every day and say this is the best that we had, if you had to take care of a human being, what would that look like?
Oh man, I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
So
Yeah, for
it
sure.
is just so. all that to say, give your parents grace.
Break.
Give them a break and give them grace.
Give me a break, yeah.
And this is not for, we're not talking about, the abusive. It's prominent that they are just not trying to be anything better than what they are. But like the people who really are like out here just trying to do the best that they can with what they got.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have any final words for the people before we close out?
If you ever see this, I love you, Mom and Dad. If you ever see this, you're probably not, but if you ever do,
Love you, Mom. You're
love
so
you,
great.
Dad. I might continue to
Love you
make
so
you proud one
much.
day.
I saw this quote and it said, no matter how far we come, our parents are always in us.
So true. I'm like, sometimes I hear myself, I'm like, that is my mother. That is my mother.
So
Things
you
I do,
can,
I'm like, that is my father. We are our children, our parents' children. For real.
that's the way that chromosomes and genealogy works. So people, you can try to run as far away as you want to, but until you realize what's already inside of you, you'll never get past it.
Yeah.
This has been another episode of the Friendship University podcast. I'm so happy to have the lovely co-host Tarrah here, who has given us so much insight in this conversation. You know where to find us. It'll be in the description box below. We are the same on every platform. We said, well, if you're watching this, please tell TikTok to unban our account. They banned our account for no reason. It's just like we've never gotten a violation. We've never gotten a strike. We've never gotten anything on TikTok ever. And I went to post and it was banned, and I have appealed it, and they have upheld the ban, and I've been trying to at them on different platforms and do different things, but it just literally makes no sense. We have nothing. There's nothing that we've ever done against the guidelines on their page. Like, even down to cursing. There's no curse words on any of our videos. Nothing. It's just nothing. So, TikTok, if somebody's watching this and can help us at TikTok, please get our account unbanned at Funny Podcast. Again, it's the same on all platforms. That is at FUNIPODCAST. That is on Twitter. That is on Instagram. That was formerly on TikTok, which is now banned. Somebody help us, please, because we can't start over with the same name, nor the same email address, nor any of that. So we are just banned, and I don't know why. And TikTok refuses to get back to us to tell us why. But that is where we are. We thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Friendship University podcast. Again, a happy belated Father's Day to all of the great dads out there. We love you all so much. Peace out.